All right, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Intelligence Check. This is episode 4. I'm your host. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Grim or Paul, whichever you prefer. And of course, to my other side, we've got Conrad Simmons. What's up, boy?
Hello.
So, we realized that last episode got a little long because we were talking a lot of technical stuff. Because, the classes themselves, they have a lot happening within them.
Yeah.
So it's a little difficult to condense things a bit. But then we figured we'd do a little bit of a more chill episode today. And I would like to, full disclaimer at the moment, I've ordered some food. So at some point, I'm going to disappear and go get my food. And Conrad will, of course, in that time, because I'm a professional, he will take over and entertain you guys in that time. But that said, today's episode is going to be about backstories and backgrounds for all your player characters when it comes to D&D. So Con, do you want to start with this or?
Oh. Woo! Backstories.
Backstories.
One of my fun parts about D&D. So classes and stuff and races. That defines, just it's the basic skeleton of your character, right? Okay, I'm a orc barbarian, whatever. But the backstory now, that brings this orc barbarian of yours to life. So, it's to me, backstories influence a lot of how your character is going to be in game or what your character might or might not do, again regardless of its class abilities or features or whatever. But let's say, for example, you're an orc barbarian, okay? And here's the thing, you for some reason you are actually a very sociable orc. Kind of weird to come across a very sociable and like a sociable orc like that, or probably like a chap who's actually like a folk hero or something of sorts, he's the hero of a particular town. And that's not from your class ability or from your race or anything. This is you writing this story for this chap or this female or whatever. And I could I'm sorry, I know I'm rambling. It's just super exciting. I love backstories. This makes or breaks your character for me. What do you think, Polly? Am I being too thinking about it?
No, not at all. Okay, so the reason why both Con and I find importance in backstories mainly because your class features and your race features, those apply mainly in combat situations.
Yeah.
However, your backstory or the background that you choose to go down will define how you are in a role-play setting. It's what how do you call it? It makes you invested in the world that you're in.
Fucking nailed it, dude.
Yeah, it gives you investment. Okay, so for example, I just started a new campaign, which you know about, of course, the Farland sequel. As we've jokingly called it, Farland 2 Arcane Boogaloo, for some stupid fucking reason. But we've called it that for now. It's a placeholder, but we'll change that, of course.
Right.
So I am playing a tiefling wizard artificer. So, for those of you wondering how that works, we're playing Gestalt rules, which basically means we pick two classes and level them up at the same time. We'll explain how multi-classing works later, but basically that's how that works. And her backstory basically is her mom's a tiefling. She's a retired archmage. Her dad is a gnome who runs a toy store. And so basically he just wants to make toys and make some fun toys. So Kiara, who is my tiefling, she's off on adventures with the Arcane Inquisitors to gain different relics and artifacts from different locations, while at the same time there seems her mother is afflicted with a disease which only affects people with infernal bloodlines. So her backstory, her overarching narrative and her backstory is just her figuring out a way to cure this plague. So everything that she does within the game is informed by her want to save her mother from this plague. Essentially equates to an aggressive form of dementia and arthritis. Like it's crippling. It's not potentially. It is fatal. It's a fatal disease because eventually your body will shut down.
Right.
So immediately my character is looking for any way possible to save her mother. And she will use all the magic, all the technology that she can get her hands on. She has to make technology, she'll make it. But the thing is, that is her entire backstory. That's what she's working to gain and create. So through her work with the Arcane Inquisitor, she gets money and resources, which she can then pour into research into this blood plague. So super interesting stuff. And I mean, I say it's super interesting. I think it's super interesting. And that's the backstory I've chosen for her. And I remember, backstories and all stuff, you should sit with your dungeon master and work them out. Because you can have a great story, but if the DM doesn't know what the story is, then it's never going to come into play.
Yeah, and also it should be something that the DM can work into the story easily for him, Like, you might have a really, really cool backstory, but here's the thing. Supposing the setting is such where the DM sadly can't work the entire thing into it, you guys sit together and, make whatever necessary adjustments to it, make your tweaks to it, get it going. Yeah, this is something you really need to sit with your DM and discuss. It might take like a couple of days also to do, depending on how deep, how massive the backstory is going to be, or whatever. But yeah, something to really sit with your DM and work. And it's super fun, actually. I love that process of sitting with a DM and creating a new. There's something about creating a new character. Like, to all of y'all who haven't played Dungeons and Dragons yet, like, trust me, making your first character, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love the process, actually, and actually sitting and thinking of a nice, thinking of some backstory and being creative and as imaginative as you can. Because hey, you can be whatever you want, right? You literally can come up with any backstory.
Yeah.
Of course, the usual thing, as if you're a first-time player, it's like, hey, someone killed my dad. Someone killed my mom. No, both my parents are burned in a fire. I will kill everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. I will seek justice.
Yeah, I mean, that's the usual generic that most people go for, which is fine. It's fine. It's perfectly fine.
It's fine. That's my first character's backstory,
Yeah.
right? That's Murun's story. I'm still playing the dude. That's still his story. But hey, there are things happening in the world now which are kind of changing his, goals now, actually. Like, his arc is actually kind of shifting from what, from seeking his father's killer, his father's murderer. His father was the head of their village, right? And this sorcerer just randomly one day attacks our village, rather brings an attack close to our village with a bunch of other, armed dudes. And we don't know why this sudden attack. So anyway, he kills my father in combat, and before, I end up taking out all the other dudes, but by the time I can get to this sorcerer, he's gone. I just see him looking over my father's body, and then he's just gone. So his initial arc was he comes to New Visra, to Arcane, New Visra, the post, and tries to find out, if this chap is lurking around here. Rather, he was given information hey, we've heard that this sorcerer Vodius is roaming around New Visra. So he sets out to New Visra to actually try and investigate and maybe find where this chap is. He got some information like, oh, he's actually signed up and working for this thing called the Desert Explorers Association. He might be associated with them or might be working with them, whatever. But this is just small tips he's getting from sources. And it seems like no one's being very clear about his whereabouts, right? It seems to be very hard to get a hold of him. But Murin's, he was so freaking determined. But now so many things have happened in the world. Rather, as we've been playing and as the story is developing, there are so many other things that have happened. Like now, we've just been tasked by a god. A god came down to us, and she's like, listen, there's some crazy shit. You guys need to take care of this in the desert before things go back to, you know, dust. So go. You guys are trying. And now we're like, I'm like Murin's like, wait, what? God damn it. His entire thing is gone, Paul. Like he's like not gone, it's there. He still has this, still there in him, to go find bodies. Go find him hopefully at some point. But now, honestly, his arc has actually changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. And he's finding it very hard to accept this whole, oh, we are champions of this city now. We are chosen by. He's immediately telling people, no. I'm just doing, my bit. I'm helping. He's that dude.
Yeah.
He's that dude. But yeah, that's backstory. That's.
Yeah.
You can never say also what would happen through while playing your campaign. You can never tell oh yeah, it's gonna straight away finish this. Yeah, this might. No, you'll never know. Things can change.
Yeah, that's the thing. Be ready for stories to change, because
yeah,
and also okay. So let me be clear about another thing also. Like Khan mentioned, sometimes having a good backstory is great. Having a nice fleshed out story is fantastic. But that's always useful for when, what do you call it? When the world is a homebrew. Now, I don't know if I mentioned what a homebrew situation means, like what homebrew actually means in words. Essentially, it is when a dungeon master has created his own campaign, his own world, his own rules, his own environments. That is what homebrew is. Now, in that regard, having a massive backstory is fantastic, because the DM then has all these details that he can cherry pick and place into his various worlds. It's like you want to be a dark, brooding character who went through hell and back and is trying his best to either make the world a better place or he's going to go for vengeance. So then the DM can just go, okay, so what's your villain's name? Or who are your parents? Do you have parents, or do you have anybody who's alive, someone who has some tie to you? Mainly because it's always good to have something that ties you down in the world. So, for example, in the previous Farland campaign, we had Annie Oakensmith. She's a dwarf she was a dwarf cleric of the Forge domain, and her parents were well and happy. Her family was fully alive and happy, and they're in the town of Griffin. So, and the thing is, like, having an existing base of loved ones or family within the game invests you in wanting to save the world. So say there's there's a cataclysmic event about to happen. If you have no reason to want to, other than I'm going to get a lot of money and become famous, it's like, okay, that's not a bad motivation. It's not a bad motivation at all. However, if the motivation is, if I do not stop this cataclysm, my family is going to die, or my family will suffer in some way and or form, it gives you a reason to fight even harder. So when we went up to Griffin to meet Annie's family, it was adorable. It was fucking adorable. Her loving mom who's fussing over all the time, get you married, all that stuff, you need to get married. She's just like, Ma, stop. It's great. And her sister and her are having back and forth banter. Of course, let's be clear. The DM is playing the family and Annie's playing herself. But Steve is so good that way that he can just roleplay anything. And it was super cute. It was super fun. And you got to know and love these NPCs. And you also felt invested in Annie's want to keep them safe as well. So it's always important to have something that grounds you in the world. Like if you want to go for the, oh my god, my parents are dead, I must seek vengeance, something, nothing wrong with that. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with it. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it's very limiting in what it allows you to do. As in like, it limits you in your motivations. Because at the end of the day, you like Conrad said, like you're playing a character. The character needs to have, well, character. So it's always important that you guys come up with something. So like if you, coming back to the whole homebrew versus modules. Now modules, it's a little more difficult when people have these massive backstories. It's difficult because modules follow a certain path that you have to follow. Not have to, but essentially there is a end game that you know is coming. A homebrew campaign, you can stretch that out for 10 years and never finish. A module, you can probably finish in about a year or so, give or take, depending on how the DM and how the players run it. But so say you have family in one city, but unfortunately this entire campaign that you're playing, this module, is set on a completely different continent. That family that you have is never going to become relevant because they're nowhere near the action of what's happening. Sure, you can send messages to them saying, hi, how's it going? You know, I'm having a lovely time. My friends are all dicks. I lost my virginity. Whatever, you know, just you know, whatever you want to do, you can do all that stuff. But then the investment is minimal at best because what you're doing is so far removed from them that it doesn't seem to make sense. So which is why in a module game, I always tell my players, come up with a basic story. Where you came from, how you got here, and something about your personality. Are you a friendly type? Are you a dunce? Are you a klutz? Are you brave, strong, weak, whatever? You can be whatever you like, but keep it simple. I think it's like I'm also not a fan of these overly amazing backstories. I like to keep basics, mainly because there are so many things that are going to happen during the game that will affect the way your character is motivated.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
It constantly changes. And when people tell me, like, you know, I need a big backstory, like, whenever a DM tells me, like, I need a big backstory, I'm like, no. I don't want to, no, I don't want that. I'm like, I'm just a charlatan. I go around scamming people for money. That's my entire shtick. But then, with that shtick, I can create my own narrative depending on the people I interact with as I go along in the game. So I'm like, and the thing is, like, you can't force your players to have a backstory. And most people, like, okay, Con and myself, we've had experience playing D&D, so we know how backstories can work and how it can be integrated.
Yeah.
New players, they don't have that. So they immediately assume that I want to be this dark character. I'm like, yes, I am all that edge, which is fine. But as you start playing with more people and learn more, you realize that the edge doesn't add anything to your character in terms of investment. Stories happen, stories come and go. And like say for example, 2, maybe 4 sessions in, you've defeated your arch nemesis. What then?
What?
Yeah, now what? Your story arc is over. Good job. Now what are you gonna do? Woo! You know, it's like, okay, do you want to keep playing? Yeah. Okay, so what's your next story? You know what I mean, right? It's just like, it's just...
Yeah. And that will, like, you know, that especially in the case of, like, you know, since we are speaking about modules, it's usually the case with modules. When you try to come up with a very complicated backstory, like even when we were sitting and doing Ollie's story, right? Like he saw an end arc already. He already wanted to, like, he's like, Macha, in the end, I want to see him like this. I was like, okay. I was like, you know what? You'll see, right? Just play. I was like, let's have this as the story. Let's just keep this as his background. This is his background hook. This is what has happened to him. Let's not have his end arc already. Like, his end arc in his head is like, Macha, I need to see him like, this. Like, I want to see him play that. I was like, Ollie, cool. super freaking cool. I like the idea. But here's the thing, as you keep playing out, you're not sure what's gonna happen. This dude might just die in your second session. I'm sorry to keep it that harsh.
No, that's the
Like,
other thing. Yeah. If you,
Ollie and make him realize the harsh reality of that.
yeah, look at that. That's the other thing. People have this amazing, okay, fantastic backstory. Session 2, your character dies.
Yeah, you're not God.
Well, I mean, there you go. That entire backstory just thrown out the fucking window.
I mean, there's plot armor to an extent. Sure, a DM can keep characters alive to an extent, sure, but death has to happen, right?
Yeah.
It is a part, and when it happens in game in D&D, oof,
Yeah.
trust me, it's a very losing a character in any other medium of a game. I feel I do get very emotional, especially when I see NPCs die or NPCs I get so close to, like something bad happened to them. I feel very upset and it throws me off for some time playing the game. But when it happens in Dungeons and Dragons, it's that times I don't know how much. Like it feels, because you are talking, you are channeling that person, you become that person for so long, and then that person's just taken away from you.
Yeah.
For good. You'll never, like, I still, like, sometimes I get teary-eyed when I think about, like, Luna and Celebrant, dude. Like, I'm like, man, I just want to play those guys so much.
Yeah.
And especially Luna, I miss that chick so badly. She's such a wacky ass, but man, she really made me, every time I played her after those sessions, I'll be like, I feel so good. I just feel light because she let me channel that side of wackiness in me. Like I could be whack because that was Luna. That I was playing Luna. Of course I'm whack. I'm stupid. Yes, I summoned 2 giant octopus to take us swimming underwater through a river to escape from people.
Yeah.
I could have maybe summoned some birds to fly us up, but no. She chose 2 giant octopuses named Iki and something else. I forgot the second chap's
Yeah,
name.
I also forgot the name, yeah. That was a long time ago also, yeah.
Long time ago. But yeah, coming back to the point, what I was saying is, if don't try to have an end arc already for your character in mind. Keep it open.
Yeah.
Have a solid backstory. Like, yeah, it can be super bad, but don't be like, yeah, and then in the end, like, maybe it could go to no. Don't even think about that. Don't even think about that.
Let's take Khan's character, for example. His character that he's playing in my game, Storm King's Thunder. So, his character was plane shifted away from a different plane of existence and brought to Faerun. Now, Zerja's overarching narrative is for her to finally be able or gain the ability to go back to her home plane. That is her entire narrative. But now she's built a bond with the people she's with. Sorry guys, give me a second, I'll be right back. Khan, do you mind just continuing with Zerja's story?
Yeah. So to continue the story, she's built a bond with the party now, with the characters now, in the sense that anyways, her adopted, her adopted daughter, as I'd love to call her, Irshara, played by Adi, another character in the game. Both of them, met under very, very grim circumstances. Ishara lost her parents very sadly due to an attack in her village, and she was the only one remaining, and Zerja traveling by happened to find her. So whatever, to cut it short, they become a sort of a family, both of them. And that was Ishara's only other connection in this place, apart from her, being teleported here randomly to freaking Faerun. And she gets, to her bad luck, gets teleported close to a bunch of orcs who are on a hunt. And they find her and imprison her. And she to cut it short, she escapes, and she kind of has to channel this darkness inside of her, and that gave us the ability to pick a deity for her as well, which works out really well. We picked Shar for her, and Shar gave her the ability to hone the powers of a cleric, right? And for a long time it was just her and Ishara. But now Ishara and her have now found this other little family of misfits who we are literally misfits. We are literally a bunch of misfits, and now over time, like, they've spent time and they all look up to Zerja as sort of like a motherly figure. Well, to Ishara it's natural because of their connection, but the rest of the party as well, they look up to her because she is an elderly, like, compared to their ages as well. And even Ishara's character in general, her personality in general is very, very caring, protective, and she doesn't take bullshit.
Yeah.
If she has to tell you shut, she'll tell you shut.
Yeah. So, I mean, so the important thing is to have an overarching narrative. So, like, always have an end game in mind. It's like, what do I want? Like Ollie choosing what he wanted for his end. That's
Yeah.
good, because then he has something he has to work towards, right?
Mm.
Now, what's going to happen in between? We don't know. You could possibly
Yeah.
die. But at the end of the day, if, like, so Serja, for example, wants to go back to her plane of existence, and so everything that she's doing informs that decision. Because as she goes through the story, she gains more knowledge, more magical abilities. She becomes stronger and more powerful within her ability as a cleric, to the point where at some point she will get access to a spell called Plane Shift, which she can just use to go back to her own time, her own plane of existence, and live there happily. Go back to her, go back to the husband that she lost. But so the thing is, like, it's always good to have an end goal in mind, because everything else that happens in between will then inform stuff regarding that end game. Now, initially when I played, like, for example, when I played Farland, that was my first, like, proper 5e game. I was playing a Dragonborn monk who's been exiled from his clan because he didn't agree with their behavior. Because, let's be clear, I mean, the campaign's over, fuck it. His clan were looking to bring back Tiamat, who is one of the most evil fucking demons in the world, in existence, to our existence. So he was like, I want no part of this. I'm outside. Now, I did not know that this was, I just said, I want to play a Dragonborn monk. And Steve's like, okay, so I've got these dudes. Do you want to be part of them? I'm like, okay, what's their shtick? And he's like, Tiamat back in the world. I'm like, I am down. Because it's fucking Tiamat. I would love to either fight that bitch or make sure she never shows up, So that's what the thing is, like, so his endgame was being able to come to a point where he can stop his clan, his former clan, from bringing this demonic entity who could end the world into the material plane, because right now she's stuck in hell. So an end goal is always good to have. It's always a good thing to know. Like, for example, Curse of Strahd. Fantastic campaign. The end goal is you guys all end up in Barovia, which is a different, it's its own plane of Ravenloft. And you can't leave. You do not get to leave unless you either kill the Lord of the land or the Lord says you may go. So it's simple. Your end goal is what? Escape Barovia. But there are multiple goals that will happen in between that you can get invested in, get involved in. Actually, especially in Curse of Strahd, when people have connections outside of Barovia, I'm like, I can't help you, dude. We're on a different plane. Ain't nobody gonna come to your ass. Ain't nobody gonna save your ass. You're stuck. Until Strahd says otherwise. So it's one of those things. So be very careful in what you decide to create for your characters. And always talk to your DM, because the DM will say, I can do that. Or, sorry bro, can't really make that work.
Mm-hmm.
Let's compromise somewhere. Let's figure out something else that could be a little more interesting for you. But the narrative is always like, have an end goal in mind. Have an end game in mind. Because like for example, the new players in Descent into Avernus, they don't know what they're getting into.
They have no idea what
they have no fucking clue. Like, do they know what Avernus is? No.
Nope.
Do we know what it is? Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, so
You and Adi mainly
yeah,
know what's up.
yeah, we know what a bonus is.
See everyone else's reaction when I take y'all. I can't wait for that moment. Like I already have it in my head.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh, speaking of becoming friends with NPCs. So Storm King's Thunder last week's session.
Oh man.
I was waiting for that session for that moment for so long.
Yeah.
You have no idea how long I was waiting for that session. So basically, bit of a recap on the situation. As the players were at Fireshare and they were attacked by a metric fuckton of giants, and they managed to defeat the giants. In an attempt to help the town restore some kind of order back, they decided to go hunting out into the wilds, and they ran into a bunch of elks, which they managed to kill, and knock them down. At the end of that encounter with the elks, they were met with a frost giant. Now, remember, up until this point, frost giants have been nothing but hostile towards the party. But this guy alone is a nice guy. And his name is Harshnag. And the moment these guys met him and saw what he looked like, they were like, this guy is a badass. Like, yeah, he's a fucking badass. And they fought their way across the north. Like Harshnag said, I'm gonna go meet the Oracle to get some clarity on the situation. Would you like to join me? And they were like, fuck yeah, let's go. Because this guy seems like a cool dude. He's got a big fuck off axe and he kills things very, very fast. We're like, amazing.
Oh man, I miss him.
Yeah, he was awesome. I enjoyed playing him. So they go on their journey to the Oracle, and they are tasked with getting these relics back, to hopefully find a way to get their way into King Hecaton, who is the king of the giants, and he has disappeared. So I used to go and discover what has happened to the king. So they go on this journey, getting all these relics back, and some places no problem getting relics. Other places they got into huge fights. There was that werewolf situation that we spoke about in the first session. And then, so last week's session, I came to a point where one of the crew members on their airship that they gotten came up to Zer's and said, "Listen, looking at some of these relics that you've gathered, some of them seem linked together. Some others don't seem. Others seem linked to other things. So I think we have enough to go back and get a good bearing on what needs to be done." So the party decides, you know what? Good. Let's head back to the Eye of the Allfather, where they got the prophecy from, and let's have some fun on the way. There is a massive party on the ship. Everybody's having a fucking blast. Everyone is smashed, stoned. Everyone is singing off key. Everyone is doing just absolute chaos on the ship. It's good fun. Everyone's having a great laugh. So they finally get back to the eye of the Allfather. They go into the Oracle's room. They place down the relics. They get their heading and the direction that they want to go to. They step outside and they are met by a ancient blue dragon, who Harshnag knows is no good. Bad. So immediately combat breaks out. The dragon tries to breathe its lightning breath upon the party. Harshnag jumps in the way, pushes the dragon's face out of the way as the breath strikes the ceiling and explodes. And he turns to them and tells them, run, as the party runs. And they get to the edge of the room where they're about to leave. They turn back. Harshnag looks at them and goes, goodbye, my friends. Lifts up his axe and smashes the ground as the entire temple starts to crumble and fall upon them. And Harshnag's locked in combat with the dragon. The dragon cannot escape. He can't escape. He sacrificed himself to make sure that these guys manage to escape. That in itself is its own story arc right there. And when it was over, my players hated me. They hated me so much.
So you saw my face after that.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm exhausted. I didn't even level up Zerja after that. I couldn't. I was like, fuck. I can't. Like, ew.
Yeah.
I was. Oh. Oof. That
It
was
was
that was some shit.
it was rough. That was stupidly rough. Like,
Fucking rough, dude.
yeah, but the thing is, like, they built a story with Harshnag.
Yeah.
He is their good friend who helped them actually get through quite a bit of danger to come there, and they just managed to and then he just died. He gave his life to save them, and that in itself becomes even better. So now the party hates dragons even more.
Oh. Oh God.
Yeah. So it's just like things evolve all the time in stories. Everything keeps changing. Everything becomes amazing, and so many beautiful things happen. Like, for example, two of the other party members in our group are fake creatures. One's a satyr and one's a Eladrin elf. And they're both stoners.
You see now what a bunch of misfits we are. This is what I was saying about earlier, guys. We're a bunch of misfits.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how we've become a family of misfits now. Like, some of us can't stand each other, but we will give our lives for the other if we have to.
Zerja and Kriegel are constantly butting heads. It's cute.
Actually, it's Ishara and Krieg.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry, Ishara and
butting
Kriegel.
heads.
Yeah, sorry.
Zerja's always trying to stop both of them from butting heads. But now between both of them, they've built up this this daft relationship where they sometimes can't stand each other, but they fucking love each other. It's it's like a typical brother-sister relationship,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And it's nice.
It's super nice.
It works.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I used to get so mind fucked in character. Like Zerja will just be like, "Oh God, will Puthi, I'll just stop." Because in the beginning, they just couldn't stand each other.
Yeah.
They couldn't stand each other.
Constantly picking at each other.
Yeah, but then when things got really bad and when they started standing up for each other, it changed. The dynamic changed instantly.
It became amazing.
So now they fight with each other, but it's so much fun to see them after that, look after each other at the same time.
So Adonic's cage still trying to flesh out my back, so I would love to pick
Flesh
your
out your
brains.
back.
Okay,
Oh.
sure. You can pick our brains. Go for it, dude. Holla at us. Guys, remember, if you're in chat, you've got questions you want to ask or you've got ideas you want to put forward, please feel free. Feel free.
And please log in, guys.
Yeah, please log into your Twitch. Make sure you're online. Give us the views. We'd love the views.
Please.
Yeah.
We want to get this D&D insight out there.
Yeah.
Not for the sake of us being famous, but just making D&D more approachable for people.
Mm-hmm.
That's our end game.
Yeah. So backstories they're important. They're not the be all and end all. If you don't have one, it's okay.
Oh, that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, Anomander, Rohan's character. Like, Rohan was like, "Maja, I don't know." I was like, "Hey, chill. Something simple, da. Just write few lines. That's all." Tap, 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 tap. He wrote up, this thing. I'm from this sort of village of dragon bonds. We little this thing human. Blah, 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 blah. Someone came and fucked in my village, and now I'm on the hunt. I was like, "Thank you. That's all. Peace. That's all I want from you." I was like, "I will give you a suitable location for your village and whatever. You come up for a name for whatever your clan was called. All that good stuff."
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
Simple. Like, he was
simple.
getting worried, he was like, "Do I have to write?" I was like, "No." I was like, "Keep it as simple as you want also." Man, if you don't want a fully fleshed out backstory and you just want to hop in and even come, go for it. Go for it.
Like for example, in one of our, again, Farland, for example, Creek.
Yeah.
He has no memory. Amnesiac. So basically, what he just told Steve, my character doesn't remember shit. And Steve's like, well, okay, I'm going to make some shit up. And you have to deal with it. But, I mean, but at the same time, I'm like, Steve's brilliant. I'm not.
Yeah. Again, that's up to the DMs.
Yeah.
If the DM's comfortable with riffing and improvising with stuff on the fly, he can he'd be comfy with doing it.
Oh yeah, and he did some amazing stuff with Creek. It was super cool. It was really super cool. I was like, fuck, Steve, how does your brain work like that, dude? That's like,
I'm trying to push myself and try to do stuff like that as well. Like even with when you all went to meet Reda, a lot of that stuff I just came up with. Like to be fair, just say a game like Reda doesn't exist in this module. She does not exist. So that's why I came up with Belch, a character of mine, right? The one-off dude.
Good
I was
old
like,
Belch.
come on, let's try and make connections and let me try and see if I can actually do this. And I just made it simple. I was like, Belch and Reda live in a fucking building as neighbors, right? They're going to find their way to Reda very easily. Hey, there, Belch connection there. He's got a butcher shop right outside. Fucking hell, sometime, boom. Like as I started thinking, I was like, oh, okay, it's coming. But man, it's hard. Like now, I before myself just watching all these DMs who riff off stuff and improvise. Just watching them itself, I used to be like, man, you guys are like amazing. But when you try to do it, you have even more respect for the guys who get it right.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. Like a lot of our job is to, as DMs, is to just come up with shit on the shit on the fly.
Yeah,
because like players do some weird shit sometimes.
Weird shit.
You're just like, oh, okay, that's my plan gone for it. Okay, we're gonna do this for the next 10 hours. Okay, cool. Okay, Descendant of Avernus. I'm playing a lawful evil hill dwarf forge cleric. Okay, raised by Druagar. After Mindflay, I killed my father out on a commission. I guess the Druagar got I don't know how to pronounce that. I will be killing a demon he took over to gain followers, pretending to still be dying. I was thinking the demon took a liking to me and included me in on this, and that's how I learned to speak Infernal. Going to Avernus looking for a powerful weapons on armor. Not a bad idea.
Interesting. Very, very interesting.
What's your end game though? That's what I like to know. Like, what is your end goal with your character? Is he going to become the right hand of this god, of this demon? Or
yeah.
Like, what's up with that?
Is he gonna turn on him?
Are you gonna turn on the party you're playing with?
And you don't even know demon intentions. Like those dudes, my god, oh my god. Paul, you should actually, after you finish playing through DIA, you should DM it one star.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It's actually a very interesting module. It gives you quite a bit of freedom, actually. They actually do give you quite a bit of freedom to, especially when it comes to demons, man. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, even playing Storm King's Thunder also, I'm just like, this is awesome. I can do so many fucking things. It's so good. You guys do all your things. You guys get bitten by werewolves, and then that whole situation.
That was amazing.
That was super.
That was amazing.
Super cool. But it's just that taking over the sector of the Druagar.
Ooh.
Path to contact with danger on multi-class later on. See, Descendant of Avernus takes you from levels 1 to what? 13.
13, yeah. And it depends if your DM, I don't know if you guys are starting in the gate. I guess y'all are, right? Yeah, you said y'all are going to descend into Avernus. So yeah, y'all are going from 1 to 13 essentially. But they do say 13 plus.
Right.
So I guess they leave it up to the DM. So that's something you could probably discuss with your DM.
Yeah.
Depending on how he's running the world.
Exactly. So if you're playing a Forge Cleric, you're planning to multi-class. Now, multi-classing, of course, I'm assuming you know how multi-class works in the game, right? I'm assuming you know that already. So why do you want a multi-class?
Yeah. That's a good question.
Yeah, because there's always the question comes down to multi-classing, sure, I want to do it. Great. What's the narrative reason for it? Because if you just choose arbitrarily to become, I don't know, you decide to be a Forge Cleric with, let's say, the Rune Master, the Rune Knight, which is the new fighter subclass in Tasha's. It's a great idea. It's a fantastic build. But why? Narrative. Yeah. Does it work into the narrative of the situation? That's one thing I've always wondered. Like whenever I play my games and people want to do, okay, so even picking your domain, or be it a subclass, I'm like, I want a narrative reason why you've chosen that. Like, have you chosen it just because, or are you choosing it because it makes sense? Like, for example, playing an artificer in Curse of Strahd, not the best idea. because there's not a whole lot of stuff you can do in terms of making stuff.
Yeah.
Because those people are extremely medieval, which again we covered in the Artificer video last week. But that's the thing. So the multi-class, like, what are you going to multi-class into, and why are you multi-classing? You want to take over the Druaga, but you've got to deal with the demon. Why would you want to take over the Druaga when you could have your own plane of existence in Avernus? Or at least not Avernus itself, but within the 9 hells. This demon gives you your own plane where you become the king of that plane. You turn on your party, you get them all killed using the help of your demon friend, your demon god, and then he grants you a boon, and you become his general.
Yeah.
Taking over the Druaga seems like a very small thing, but when a demon just goes, "I want to be your general," done. Here's all the power in the fucking world. You know what I mean? There seems to be a little bit more thing. So the question, it only comes down to, like, what is your end game?
Yeah.
The end game is super important. Like, what do you want out of this game? What do you want out of this character? Will you turn on your party? Won't you turn on your party? Maybe you'll convince your party to join you in worshipping the demon. Could be fun.
In our game also in Descent now, like, you guys have figured out, like, Orion has a connection with the demon, right? Like, rather with either a devil or a demon, you aren't exactly sure as yet. You'll just have hints of, but y'all know he's got, like, a connection. So I'm working, it's very similar, like, backstory. I see a lot of similarity with these two backstories, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is something you should sit with your demon, with your demon, it seems, with your DM. Your DM can be a demon from time to time.
100%.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, have a chat with your DM on that. Chat with your DM.
Yeah, because
like, taking over the sect, sure, but yeah, if your DM gives you, like, a similar idea like Paul just did, hey, that's amazing as well.
Yeah. Or even the fact that, like, say you join, you become his champion, and through him you gain ability to go further into the story. He gives you a mission. I want you to kill this demon lord or this demon king or whatever. Could potentially work.
Yeah.
But say he gives you that help, sure. What then? Is your soul gone? Is your soul doomed to Avernus? Are you able to change? Like, you say you're lawful evil. Could your alignment change? Could you become lawful good? Potentially. If one of your players decides to go, yo, I don't think this is a good idea. I think you should be chill. It's like, up to you, man. But remember, anything you decide with your backstory, you have to tell your DM. Because if you don't tell your DM, it ain't gonna happen. Guys, keep that in mind. Any backstory you make, any decisions you make, anything you want to do in your game, if your DM doesn't know about it, they will not happen. End of story. Because if the DM can't, write it into his narrative, then it's not gonna happen. Simple as that.
Yeah.
But but then you have to, like, you gotta be careful about what you decide. Oh, Jesus, Asmodeus is the demon.
Asmodeus?
Wow.
Good luck, my friend.
Wow. The actual king of hell.
Good luck.
Okay.
It's going to be an amazing journey for you.
Okay. So I think a huge part of this is going to be how the DM role plays Asmodeus.
Yeah.
That's going to be a huge part of how this works.
He's going to carry you through this, man. He's going to carry you through
Okay,
this.
so Asmodeus is going to be... Okay. So I'm assuming your deity is now... Basically, your deity is Asmodeus, as opposed to... Yeah, essentially it's Asmodeus, yeah. Which is kind of badass. Badass. The fact that your DM even allows you to do that is kind of beast. Because I'll be like... I'm like, you don't know who the fuck Asmodeus is? Shut the fuck up. You've never heard of Asmodeus? But yeah, no.
He's DM to DM again. That's the beauty of D&D.
Yeah.
So two people the
Yeah.
same module to
The same way.
or
Yeah.
anything.
Like the way I run stuff, the way Con run stuff, 100% different.
Oh, 100% different.
Yeah, we run it so differently. But yeah, no, I mean, that's not, I mean, again, it's a cool backstory.
Yeah.
But think of a good end game. Like, say, whatever, you go through all of that. What then? What is going to be after that? Because, sure, you gain Asmodeus' favor, then what do? Like, if you look at Critical Role, look at Arkin, Joe Magnolo's character.
Yeah.
He swears loyalty to Tiamat. And now he has his own castle in Avernus where he is chilling and doing evil shit.
Yeah.
He has the hand of Vecna, and he is a beast. I'm like, there you go. Like, that's his end game. It's like, I just want to get the hand of Vecna and become a fucking demon god. I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Let's go. Let's fucking go. So, I think that's the important thing, is for you to know where you're going to go with the character. I'm not saying don't do it. Yeah. This is a great idea. I mean, this backstory you have right now is super neat. And it's easy to fit this within the narrative of Descent of Avernus. If we do make contact with Asmodeus, what can he even offer him?
Convince you.
Oh, please. You can't threaten Asmodeus. You can't do that. The idea I would say would be to prove yourself to be the best of the Duergar.
Yeah.
To be the best of them.
Trust me, you will get all these answers the more you play into it.
Yeah.
This question, especially what you had, is like the moment your first proper meeting with Asmodeus, you might envision it something else beforehand, but in the moment you don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
What if you're meeting on bad terms for some reason?
Yeah.
Something happened along the way, you're meeting on bad terms.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe you interrupted a ritual that he had years in the making.
Yeah, you spoiled some plan of his.
Yeah.
Without even knowing. You didn't know. I mean, hey, he's a demon god.
Yeah.
He's got plans out the ass.
Yeah.
Out the ass. Like that's what I said. Demons are amazing to play because they are unpredictable to all hell. Like those guys, their basic intent is rule. Just have the upper hand in the night, within the 9 hells, in whichever particular realm they are. Any other, demons or anyone under them, there's always some chap trying to be like, hey, I'm the main dude. Y'all do your things though. I just want to see. I just remember I'm number 1. So Asmodeus, to be very fair, is one of those guys.
Yeah.
Again, also comes. You don't know what it's going to be in the moment.
Yeah. And
when you actually meet him.
And it also depends on how your DM role plays Asmodeus.
Ooh, that's gonna
be a huge factor because he might offer you a deal.
Yeah.
Do this for me, and I will give you power, gold, women, whatever you want. Or maybe he's seeing you as his champion, potential champion. Among the Duergar, all this stuff. Sure, you can do that as well.
Yeah.
Get more followers because the more followers a god has, the more power they get.
Yeah.
But the difference is, does your character know that it is Asmodeus? That's the question. If you don't know that, then you don't know.
Yeah. So that's when you need to. So this is good. Think of all these things out of game. Start playing it in game. Start doing it in game. In character, ask questions. Talk to NPCs. Or hey, if you have like in your case, if you have someone who's very close to deities and stuff, or demons or anything in general, good knowledge of it, talk to that character.
Yeah.
Maybe that person out of game doesn't know, but that person's character might know.
Yeah. Or maybe you find a library that has a book on demons.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're finding out names of demons, and then because that's the thing about demons and devils. If you know their name, you have power over them. Exactly, a demon that you befriended. There you go. So stuff like that. No, it's not simple at all.
Simple is amazing. No,
simple
it just has to be something that, because these are just little hooks to your backstory that carry it out.
You owe him a debt also, potentially, yeah. 100%. All this stuff can be done. A demon bestows you power. I made a deal with the demon. But the difference is the debt that you pay. I mean, that demon could have been a avatar of Asmodeus.
Yeah.
And now Asmodeus owns you. He owns you. So, so the moment he decides you no longer have powers, you can no longer cast magic. That's the thing about clerics, paladins, and warlocks. Your deity or your patron can just go, fuck you, no more magic for you. That could be a great way for you to work out a storyline as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the fact that, like, say you start doing things that are contrary to Asmodeus' beliefs. Asmodeus goes, you now no longer have 3rd level spell slots. Until you please me again. Which is why, like, I believe I think it's the Odyssey of Theros in that book. There's something called the piety system, which is pretty fucking cool. The piety is pretty cool. And more piety you have, you gain some benefits, and the less you have, you gain detriments potentially.
Yeah.
So when you praise when you do work in the name of your god, you gain piety points. Those piety points can be used to gain benefits, like permanent benefits. Like you can up your constitution beyond 20. You can up your wisdom beyond 20. Whatever your primary class, primary casting is, you can do it that way. Yeah, exactly. You could potentially be sabotaging your party. But then here's the thing. I'm not. See, in playing evil is fun. Don't get me wrong. Being evil is super fun. But if your evilness is getting in the way of everyone else's fun, that's when it becomes a problem. Which is why I'm always hesitant when people say I want to be an evil character. I'm like, I get it, but fair.
You could say that.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
And then it could be a moment for them to rally together and hopefully save your soul. But at the same time, that'll also depend on how well you build your relationships with your party members. Because if you're a dick to them the entire time, and you just go, he has my soul, well, fuck you, kill you immediately. It's like, so it's one of those double-edged swords, right? It's a good idea, but it can easily backfire.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm saying be a little careful on choosing the evil situation. I mean, okay, no, like I said, I understand what you're trying to say, but not everybody is going to go along with that, right? Because that can cause that can lead to, even a small thing can lead to problems. So if that's your idea, it's a good idea. I like what you've got. I like the idea that you've gone with. Talk to your dungeon master and let him know that this is the kind of things you want to run. And check with him if he's okay if you do these things.
Yeah.
Because that's the important thing. Because again, nothing happens unless the DM says so.
It's okay.
Yeah. If the DM doesn't say okay, then you can't do it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Like you're saying, small scale stuff is also fine. But it's also how, like, what might seem small to you, to another PC, that could have been massive.
Yeah.
Like this imp got away. This imp is the actual way for us to get to where we need to go, and you managed to let him get away. It's just like, oh no, what have you done? Why did you let him get away? It can create a good roleplay situation, but it can also start creating tension amongst the clan, amongst your party members, which can be extremely problematic. So I'd say, think about it, consider it. That's up to you. That's up to your DM.
There is a mechanic for those coins, but again, it's how your DM uses them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk much about it because I've got players in here.
Yeah. I'm a player in this game, but it's in Inverness.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Again, talk to your DM. If your DM is, but then again, until you get that knowledge, about said coins, like actually get the knowledge in game,
Yeah.
you can't do anything with that, right?
You can't do anything because your DM also might tell you like auto game. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, this is the mechanic, but you have to play it out in game.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, no matter what knowledge you have for yourself out of game, like you, the person in reality has this knowledge. Cool, but your character has to know.
Yeah, your character don't know. I know a lot about Avernus. I know who the end boss is. I know where we're going, but my character has no fucking clue.
Yeah, yeah.
So the thing is, like, it's always about separating what you know versus what your character knows.
Yeah.
Say, for example, you ask your DM a question about traversal into Avernus, or say you find a coin which is strange and it's giving off this necrotic or demonic energy, and you're like, I want to know what this is. Your DM goes, I would go, give me a religion check. If you roll a nat 20, he might go, you know exactly what that is. You know how it works and everything. Or, as a false cleric, you have identify as a spell. Identify the damn thing so he knows exactly how it works. And once you have that knowledge, then you can say, yo, DM, can I make these? And your DM might go, maybe. Potentially. You could certainly try. Or he'd be like, no, fuck you, you're not breaking my game. But I mean, it's that whole thing, right? It's that whole thing. So it's always about, like, do not let your knowledge of information in the game fuck with how it goes into the game as well. Well, Angular making content.
It's good that it excites you. That's the fun part.
Exactly. Remember, if your DM don't know, it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
You have to talk to your DM. Because he has to approve this idea. He has to know that this, like, can he make it happen? If he can't make it happen, be ready to, you can keep from the party. Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
Like the amount of games I've been in. Yeah. So no, go on. Sorry.
Yeah. So like most of the time, I know, like, since I've like Paul has DM'd quite a few times for us, and like even in my games now, like I tend to keep, like, I don't share backstories unless if the person shares it, or sometimes I won't even tell the other person, no, don't share these things. I want to play them. I want them to play out in game. So yeah, I'm pretty sure your DM will immediately be like, yeah, this is something we'll keep from the party.
Yeah.
This be something between you and I, and that'll be a really cool thing for y'all to keep constantly working. And here's the thing again, keep talking to him.
Yeah.
After a session, always think back on what has happened and be like, okay, so where can I progress next? What can my character think of next? And immediately, before your next session, talk to the DM about it. Discuss about it.
Yeah, like for example, Batman goes in chat right now. He has a character who's a satyr, and he chose his subclass to be the Phantom Rogue from Tasha's. So I had this crazy idea, which he went along with. I'm like, so when you hit level 3 and you gain a subclass, you are possessed by a ghost of an orc that you guys killed. And nobody else knew that this happened to him. It came to a point suddenly where his character just switched to the orc and started attacking his allies.
Yeah, that was fucked up when it happened the first time. Jeez.
And he and I kept that away from the party for the entire time.
Yeah. That was crazy.
But yeah, so it's stuff like that. And especially when the reveals happen. When you and the DM together can reveal something.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, like how you came up with that reveal for Celebrant's transformation. That was one of my that was one of the coolest ideas you've come up with, dude.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, just revealing things like that is so amazing for DMs and also for players. You players go, oh shit, fuck! I can't tell you that.
We can't tell you that exactly because, trust me, your DM will not have someone else give you information about the module he's running currently for you.
Yeah, and it's not fair.
Things you have to think about,
and it's not fair for us to tell you either.
Yeah.
Because then it ruins the fun of the game.
It ruins it completely.
Yeah, because the idea is to discover things as you go along.
Just play. Just play. Yeah, you will have so many questions. Everyone has questions as a player constantly.
Oh yeah.
Just keep playing. That's the excitement of waiting for the next session, right?
Yeah,
You're like,
exactly. Yeah.
oh, I have all these questions. What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
Exactly. So the idea is like,
You won't be breaking. You'll know if you're breaking something. Your DM will immediately tell you.
yeah,
Right? Again, coming back to talk to him about it. Talk to him about it. He will immediately, if he finds it game breaking or breaking the storyline in some way or not fitting in exactly, he will be very frank about it and tell you, because at the end of the day, that becomes his headache, right?
yeah,
Like that's his like stuff to deal with. That's his gameplay. That's all his work to do. So talk to him about it. The
Yeah.
reason like Paul and I won't don't want to share information and then, because we might say something and then when you go to him with that idea in mind, he might tell you something else altogether, and that will create a conflict and you'll be like, wow, that idea I actually thought it was cool, maybe my DM is not giving me a cool idea. No, we don't want to give that. We don't want to, like, this is between you and your DM. Yeah,
because like it
we
may
need
be
to respect that.
exactly. Plus, even in your game, Asmodeus may not even like if your DM will be like, no, Asmodeus doesn't even feature.
Yeah. I don't know what his running of Avernus. Like, I've come up with my hierarchy and running of Avernus, right? I've gone through like the entire section, saw each one's hierarchy, how it's set up by default in the module. Now, the guys, like, you say, even if Paul knows the module, right? Just say, like, if he knows like how these things work, who knows? Maybe I have my own way of running Avernus.
Yeah.
I've probably changed the entire fucking hierarchy down there. These guys don't know, but they have to go.
Yeah.
They'll make it. When they make it to Avernus, they'll see what's up.
Yeah, because like I've had bits of Avernus spoiled already for myself. Not because I chose to, just that people just told me. I'm just like, they tell me spoiled. I'm like, man, I'm playing that game.
I told you there's a thing made as Paul. And when Paul told me, I was like, I knew which NPC he was talking about. I was like, yeah, sure.
And I'm like,
but who knows? Maybe that guy might not even be there when they go there.
Maybe there are two of them.
Yeah, because I've already planned the dungeon before Paul even told me that he knew about the spoiler. So I've already got things set in there.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
so he doesn't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, the main antagonist could change even if you wanted to. I can make my own fucking antagonist.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, that's the beauty of modules, right? Modules give you a base to work with. You can, as a DM, you can change everything. See, that's the thing. Are you aware of Tasha's new rules? Like, are you aware of the new rules that are put in Tasha's the custom lineage thing? Because if you know, if you've heard about that,
you would be able to.
Yeah, because if you had Tasha's, if your DM is running with Tasha's, you can play any race as a false cleric. So here's the thing. So Tasha's allows you, when you choose a race, you can pick and choose where you're going to put your ASIs. So I believe clerics get what do you call it? +2 to Constitution, +1 to Strength. If I remember correctly, Hill Dwarves? Or was that Mountain Dwarves? My point is, you could pick a Dragonborn and still have those same bonuses. Instead of +2 Strength, +1 Charisma, you can make that +2 Wisdom and +1 Constitution. That's what Tasha's allows you to do. So because of Tasha's, you are no longer stuck. Yeah, you can be a Raccoon False Cleric if you want, yeah. You can be a Gnome False Cleric. You can be a Kenku False Cleric. You can be whatever you want. You can pick whatever race you want and play whatever class you want. Because Tasha's lets you do that. Ask your DM if he's using Tasha's. If he's using Tasha's, I'd recommend looking at different races to play your cleric. It can be much more interesting. Because, false cleric dwarf, that's the most generic thing. Nothing wrong with it. Let me be clear about that. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But you can make whatever you like. Especially if Tasha's is involved. Because Tasha's cauldron to everything. If you can get your hands on that book, read it.
Ooh.
Because, and also, if you're gonna go for a evil character, might I suggest the Twilight Domain Cleric? That thing is nuts.
It's amazing.
It's fucking
amazing.
nuts. So that's the thing. Think about it. Check with your DM. If he's doing Tasha's, amazing. Then you don't have to make a dwarf. You can make whatever you want. You can be a kobold false cleric if you want. You can be a minotaur. You could be a centaur. You could be a satyr. Whatever you wish. As long as there's a player character sheet for it, go for it. Like if you pick up what was it, Van Richten's Guide to the Heat Resistance.
It's not a bad idea to pick it up for heat resistance. Picking Forge Cleric for heat resistance, not a bad idea at all.
Yeah, of course.
Not a bad idea at all.
But at the same time, you can just make a red dragonborn, and you have fire resistance innately. So you know what I mean?
Hey, and you breathe fire.
You breathe fire. Yeah. So
But
stuff like that also works out.
If your DM's using Tasha's, yeah, you can do all this cool stuff.
Using
Check with
Tasha's
him.
rules. Yeah, 100%.
Check with your DM.
Check with the DM how he's running it, what modules he's using, what rule books he's using. Does he have Xanathar's Guide to everything? All this stuff. The player's handbook, don't get me wrong, has got some good stuff. But there's a lot of stuff you can do. It also depends what you ask you. Like, see if your DM doesn't even have the books available on Roll20 because he can't afford to buy the books. Because those books are still official rules.
Yeah.
You can use them.
Yeah.
But check with him.
You just have to custom create your sheet on Roll20. It might just take you a little more time, but doable.
Yeah, 100%. Because on Roll20, you can actually custom make your character.
Yeah.
You can choose a custom race and put all the features that are in whatever other book you're using. Like if you're using Eberron, you can be a Warforged. Be a Warforged False Cleric. Immediately you get a +1 to AC. Because 1, because you're a False Cleric, and 2, because you're a Warforged. So at level 1, as a Warforged Forged Cleric, you have a 20 AC at level 1. If you pick a shield as well. How stupid is that? At level 1, you have 20 AC.
Man, I need to make another Warforge.
Yeah, Warforged are nuts. You can make a Loxodon like Conrad's character Zerja. She's a elephant person. Elephant person.
It's super fun. A lot to think about.
Yeah. Definitely talk to him.
Talk to him.
Definitely talk to him.
Talk to him.
But if he says not able to, think of something better. Think of a different idea then.
Yeah.
Because
I'm sure DM will give you another idea. He will definitely give you suggestions as well.
100%.
But you do have a very good basic idea going for your backstory, Sardonic Sage, I should say. It's a very interesting backstory to work.
It's a very good idea. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. But the only thing I'd say is so much of it depends on your DM saying yes.
Yeah.
So think about how you can alter that a little bit so it works in your favor. Or at least create something that will make you happy to play.
Yeah.
Because like we mentioned at the beginning of this, a backstory and a background that you choose is to invest your character and invest you into the narrative. Because if you're not invested, then why are you playing?
Yeah.
Know what I mean?
You're just playing just a bot, basically, at that point.
Exactly, yeah. And the other part of the thing also is to also recognize what is your character doing? Like why are they on this adventure? Exactly, yeah.
Here's the name Asmodeus. Yeah. He's definitely gonna ask you some questions.
Definitely some questions. Yeah, 100%. But that's the thing, like maybe a different demon lord. Maybe not Asmodeus. Maybe it's what's his name?
There are so many, and again,
Yeah.
it can.
There's so many demon lords you
There
can
are
choose.
so many demon lords. So many demon lords. And especially with the descent into Avernus, you get so much insight into him. Like your DM definitely has options.
Yeah, potentially.
So-
I mean, for this could be insane, but your god is actually the primary antagonist of Avernus.
Possible.
Potentially.
Possible.
He/she/they has manipulated you into believing something, when actually they're just manipulating you the entire way.
Again, this
Could
is
work.
all if your DM comes up with it.
Yeah,
How
and-
he,
yeah,
what he
exactly.
comes up with.
Yeah. If your DM is okay with all this, then cool. But no, definitely. But the thing is, like, don't feel that you are stuck with being
Yeah.
a dwarf. If your DM is going to involve Tasha's cauldron to everything, use and abuse it, because you can make any race you want.
Yeah.
Anything you want. Like, give it a chance. I will always play Dragonborn. Dragonborn is my favorite race. I love Dragonborn. They're fucking awesome. They're super cool. And especially with, like, or even, fuck me, you can go for a variant human, pick up the Eldritch Adept, get one Eldritch Invocation, and you can pick up Devil's Sight, so you can see clearly in magical darkness and non-magical darkness. It's insane.
Yeah.
You have a demonic eye. Could be fun. So many cool things you can do.
Oh yeah. Oh man, backstories.
Backstories.
Like it's such a huge part of playing through a campaign.
Yeah, man.
Such a huge part. It just brings everyone together, all the characters together into the narrative. And it's so much fun for the DM also. Like it's nice to see it from a DM perspective also. Like, watching each character play out, and like sometimes even the DMs don't know what's gonna happen to the character, right? A lot of things, like you guys do a lot of stuff in game, like the players do a lot of stuff in game, and then his name is Thyman Thunderhawk. Wow, love the name.
No, Thundercock, not
Thundercock.
Thunderhawk. Thundercock.
Wow, Thundercock. Kawk. For anyone who's listening.
A flaming horse, a nightmare. Man, those things are nasty. Nightmares are no joke. But that's the thing. So the thing is, like, again, all these are great ideas. Don't get me wrong. All fantastic and cool ideas. But if your DM says no, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's his game. He needs to make this shit work. If he can't make it work, then, well, you're shit out of luck, can't you?
Yeah.
So, it's a good backstory is good. I mean, having a good backstory is nice. However, the DM had to say yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can negotiate with the DM. I want XYZ. DM's like, okay, but XYZ will cost you ABC.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
You can negotiate shit as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you want Asmodeus in the game, it could have far-reaching consequences, which affect not just you, but potentially the entire party, and potentially the entire campaign as well. Shit changes.
Don't overwhelm.
Yeah. Of course, it'll be great fun for roleplay. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's great. But make sure he's okay with it. Make sure he or she is okay with it. That's the important thing. Because it's more work for them. Because they have to make all this fit.
Yeah.
Or, like, you might have this amazing idea, but then like we mentioned earlier, your character could die. Then what?
Yeah.
This entire narrative you've come up with just goes out the window, right?
I was like, for example, when y'all started Avernus, it was session 0 itself, when I kind of like unexpectedly threw y'all like towards the last half hour of our session, just started off the session and threw y'all in. That little heroic and things, those little things that two characters were doing, hey, those things could have flipped and gone bad, and potential TPK at session 0 itself. Hey, who knows? I'm not saying I was being an asshole or anything. I was making rolls. To see, I was like, okay, these guys are actually making a statement right off the bat. Cool, love it. But how are these guys going to react? Okay, let's roll. Okay, Okay, they're lucky. They're lucky. Things are fine. Things are fine. But you'll
It's-
never know. You'll never know. You'll never know.
It's really nuts.
So unpredictable.
New
New
players,
players are the best. Yeah.
100%, 100%.
New players are the best.
Because
New
we,
players are the best.
because us quote unquote veterans get to sit back and watch them make mistakes, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious because they fuck up. I'm just like, ha, lesson learned.
Shreyas,
Whatever.
you are in the veteran category now, da.
Yeah, you are a quote unquote veteran.
You've
Macha.
done enough shit, macha.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But
To
yeah.
people who are listening, and if you're thinking of getting into D&D, just get into it. It's so much fun.
Jump
I
in,
have
jump
so
in.
much fun just talking the show. I wait for Friday evenings just to talk D&D.
Yeah.
It's become such a huge part of my life now. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I'm going to be starting my new campaign. I'm having session 0 for Curse of Strahd this weekend
Oh,
on Sunday.
wow.
Session 0. So I am currently in 4 campaigns.
Woo.
2 I'm running and 2 I'm player in.
Yeah.
But that's the thing.
Damn,
It's just have fun, man.
It's and who knows if you catch the bug, like, you know, some of us have.
Ah.
If you're gonna be wanting to get on as many campaigns as possible.
Hell yeah.
Like now, if I think about it, I'm running one and I'm part of Storm King Thunder. Yeah, I'm part of another 4, but yeah, I'm part of 5 campaigns.
Yeah.
Running one.
Hell yeah. Dude. And just playing them is fun. And all my
It's
characters are different.
fun. Yeah.
All my characters are different.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun. Oh my god, it's so much
Coming
fun.
up with the stories, fleshing them out, potentially getting them there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it
Baldur's
is
Gate
fun.
3 does have a bonus relations, yeah. 100%.
Yes.
But
The
that's-
setting and the time is almost quite close to each other.
Yeah, the bonus is a
It-
prequel essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
To Baldur's
Yeah.
Gate 3, yeah.
To Baldur's Gate 3.
A lot of stuff is affected by that.
Yeah.
But I think that's all the time we have for today, I believe. Yeah, I mean, anything else you want to discuss, Con? Or?
Oh no, I think this was a good conversation.
Yeah.
This was a good conversation. After last week's nerd out, this was
Oh,
a nice, just chill, relax conversation. And yes, Sardonic Sage, you're most welcome.
Yeah, you're most welcome, dude. Like I was saying, drop by here every Friday. We're talking
Every
D&D.
Friday. Yeah.
But that's all the time we have today, guys. And remember to hit up all our socials, as you can see in the image there. There's House of Grim, that is me, Connorboy_24, that is Conrad on Instagram. And of course, the beautiful art done by our very own Priscilla Dillon. You can see her tag up at the top right, at Prissy Dilly. If you want character art, you want art for your games or whatever, hit her up on Instagram and talk to her, and she'll
she
come
won't
up with
disappoint.
ideas. Oh, she's amazing. I'm having her doing some art for my Twitch as well. And of course, the music that you hear in the background, of course, was composed by our very own Conrad Simmons right here. And of course, he also has done music for his own campaign, for my campaigns, a few other people as well. If you want music from him, once again, hit up that Instagram post,
Hit me
that
up.
link.
Any DMs listening in, please hit me up. Hit me
Yeah.
up on my Instagram tag, which is given here.
Yeah.
I love making music. That's another thing which, Dungeons and Dragons brought into my life. Making music, like this for background stuff for
Yeah.
campaigns. It's so much fun. It's
Super
so much
fun.
fun. So
Super fun.
do hit me up if anyone needs music for your campaigns or anything.
Yeah.
Always ready to do it.
Yeah. So, and I think that's all. I think that's everything from us. So, from us to you guys, until next time, roll for initiative, and we'll see you then. So, from us to you, till then, peace out.
Bye bye.